It's Psychoacademic Holocaust, the Special Education and ADHD Wars Against Black Boys, which is the first book ever written by an African-American male school psychologist to black parents specifically with specific strategies on how to fight against special education and ADHD. I know, right? I'm out of breath.
Powerhouse on the phone. What's up, brother?
How we doing there, good brother?
Man, we living the life. How you doing? Everything's good?
Yes, sir. Everything's well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, man, Dr. Umar, it's truly a pleasure. I had the benefit of meeting Dr. Umar Johnson at the MLK breakfast sponsored by the Unity Group. Shout out to Reverend Charlotte Williams for putting together such great events, her and her team. And Dr. Umar, I was just so impressed by you then. I was unable to make it to the 6 o'clock grand event, but I just wanted to just bring you on and talk about this progress and regress and see what was the message that you shared with everyone on Monday evening.
Yes, ma'am. Well, primarily I would say it was three things if I would sum it up. Number one is that there's a war against our children and that we are responsible for what's happening to our children more so than the public school system because we do not advocate and fight for them once they're in there. And also, we have an obligation to build our own schools for our own children. We cannot expect middle-class white folk to properly educate black children. We have the money, we have the capital, and we have the educators to build an independent black educational system. So that was number one. Number two, a lot of the rights that our ancestors struggled for during the civil rights movement have been rolled back, and they have been rolled back while a black president sits in the White House. And the reason they were so effectively rolled back is because everyone knows that the president isn't going to speak up for black people as he's never done, although he will advocate for other so-called minority groups, but he doesn't advocate for the primary minority group. And that our history in this country has been a history of struggle. Everything we've gotten because we fought for it. So if black people want to understand why we're going backwards, it's because we're no longer organizing, we're no longer mobilizing, and we're no longer fighting for our rights. We've gotten lazy. And because we've gotten lazy, white supremacy has gotten much stronger.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That
Let me
was
ask you a question. Do you feel, how do you think about this? A lot of times when I'm around some of my counterparts, people would say that we have overcome and we have all these privileges and all these rights. Why are we still yelling that black people, and why are we still trying to fight this fight that's no longer a fight? They feel that we're fighting a no-win cause, like we shouldn't be fighting anything because we have arrived.
Right. Well, two things to that point. Number one, anything that's unhealthy can be made to look healthy just by the way you dress it up. So we have to recognize that the problems that we suffer are exactly the same ones we suffered before the civil rights movement and even after slavery during Reconstruction, but they are made to look better. In other words, we have more educated black people. We have rich black celebrities. So because we have a couple of tokens who have been allowed to partake in the American dream, it gives the false illusion of inclusion, although the great masses of black people are still suffering and catching hell every day, but they try to reduce our struggle to a couple rich blacks who no longer identify with us in the first place. So number one, we have to recognize how they make the problem look different. And number two, I would say because we are so selfish of a people, we tend to judge the current state of affairs for the whole group by how we are doing. In other words, Dr. Umar Johnson can say, well, I have 6 degrees. I have a doctorate. I've never been to jail. My father was in my life. Well, that's for me, but that is not how most black boys are growing up. And that is not the life of most black males. But if I am selfish and only concerned about myself, I will judge the collective progress for black folk by my own progress, which might not necessarily be theirs.
Man, that's so deep. And I love
so
the way he
real.
makes it so plain. You know what I'm saying? When he breaks it down. And I know at the breakfast you talked about, you just said that people follow successful people, but the successful people are not always loyal to the people. Can you speak on that? Because I'm trying to mobilize and start a movement here, because right now we've got some serious income disparities in this city. A white household average wealth is about $141,900, and the African American household here in Chattanooga is $11,000.
which is interesting because President Obama just pushed through Congress Equal Pay Act so women can make the same amount of money as men. Well, basically, so white women can make the same amount of money as white men. But President Obama did nothing about the income disparity between black women and white women. He didn't even touch it. And he didn't deal with the income disparity between black folk with the same education as white folk, still not being paid not even 75 cents to what the white person's dollar. So you're absolutely right. The earning disparity is a big issue, but we also have an employment disparity.
Yes, we do.
Worse. Half the black men in most of our cities are unemployed, half of them, but yet the United States government, President Obama, is bringing 4 to 5 million illegal immigrants to the country so they can work. How do you find jobs for 5 million people who are not even citizens when half the black men in the country can't even find a job?
Exactly.
Wow.
Hey, listen, you got a speech to
Right.
Tweet that.
All right, I
Tweet
got
that.
something else for you,
real.
Dr. Johnson. I've got something else for you. On the issue of the school system, here right now in Chattanooga, and what we're going to do is we're going to first throw out some questions, and then as we sum it up, we want to hear about the first steps towards a solution. Right now, in the Chattanooga community, for instance, we've got 2 predominantly black schools in our area that tested by the Ox Metropolitan Study Center. They determined that 2 of our predominantly black high schools graduates are 0% prepared for college based on how they tested and were unable to pass all 4 sections of the ACT, compared to a predominantly white school, fairly new school in the area, where graduates were 44% prepared for college.
Now, my statement to that would be this. I'm quite certain that everyone within the school district knew that those children would fail that test because they knew that they did not prepare them for it.
Exactly.
Now, here's a bigger question. How many principals were fired? How many teachers were fired? How many superintendents were fired? How many central administrative staff downtown were fired? I'm willing to bet that no one lost their job as a result of the failure of those black children because it is acceptable for them to fail.
Wow.
That is wild.
You stepped on a whole bunch of toes with that one.
And listen, when I talk to people, they're gonna say, the people that I'm around, they're gonna say, man, that you're angry and that you're coming off aggressive, and they're gonna say, why was you so angry about the things that are you got
I don't
so
think
many
it's
good.
anger. I think it's passion. What I get from that
But why
is
do
not.
we get passionate? It
I
come off
think
as
it's
anger.
knowledge too.
But just because we
It's like-
passionate
You gotta
about
remember
something
that.
as
You
black
gotta
people, it come off
remember
as
that.
anger.
What'd you say, doctor?
The best way to disqualify someone's argument is to make it look as if that person is acting under negative emotion. So it's very easy to call passion anger because there's a movement in America to disqualify every non-mainstream opinion that a black man has when it doesn't line up with the status quo. So calling me an angry black man, it helps to disqualify my argument from the conversation.
All right
Thank
now.
you. That's what's up.
That's a good response. Any more questions, Mr. Burt?
No, I'm done.
All right, and Dr. Umar, also one of the things that you're passionate about, I know, is the war on black boys in the school system, specifically with disabilities and ADHD. Can you speak to that and just kind of empower our mothers and our communities out there of what they need to do in those situations?
Definitely. One thing we got to recognize about black boys, which I talked about in Chattanooga, and that is the problem is not the black boy. The problem is the system that he's in. But the problem with most of the programs that we have, including President Obama's brother's keeper, is that they target the black boy as if something is wrong with him. You will never solve the problem facing black boys if you're treating him like he is the problem. He is the victim of the problem. It is the school system. It is the criminal and justice system. It is the economic system. It is the system of white supremacy that is his problem. But if you notice, all of the programs target the black boy like something's wrong with him. Nothing's wrong with him. The problem is with the system, and we should be targeting that system because he is a victim of both racism and sexism. The black boy suffers from white people inside of school, and then he suffers from white women inside the school because the public school is a white female's queendom. And if you're not willing to allow her to rule and run your life, you will be castigated and marginalized. What he needs is black male teachers. Black boys need black men. As long as we keep sending fatherless boys, women, to give them an education, it will never work.
That's it.
So what do you say to the argument where people will say, well, where are these black boys' fathers? Where is their parents? Because I hear a lot of educators and a lot of, conservative viewing people feel that the solution is that what's wrong with the black families that the mother and father is not involved? Because if we only had parental involvement, these lives would be changed. What do you speak to the black community and the black family structure as when they say that is the issue, not necessarily the school system?
Right. Here's what I would say to that. They're focusing on a symptom. They're not focusing on the cause of the problem. They're dealing with outcomes, but they're not talking about the catalyst for that. Why aren't parents available? Because they got to work 2 and 3 jobs. Why aren't parents available? They're addicted to drugs and alcohol because they are crushing under the stress of not being able to care for themselves and care for their children appropriately. We have to look at the economic and political pressures on the black family that make it difficult for parents to be present in the lives of their children. And we have to look at America's so-called war on drugs, which is nothing but a war on black men that sends fathers to jail for 5, 10, 15, 20 years at a time, leaving the mother at home to raise these boys by herself. And then when she caves in under the pressure, they put her in a mental hospital and then send her son off to the adoption program, and he becomes a ward of the state. So we got to look at how the government is destroying the black family, not the black family itself.
So what is the solution? Like, what are some first steps? What are some things that we need to that we can do as a community? Like, that we can start with ourselves. So what are some things that we can do to bring about progression? What did you say?
Organization. The biggest thing we miss now from the civil rights movement is organization. We are not organized. There's too much internal petty differences. Churches don't work together. Grassroots groups don't work together. Sororities and fraternities don't work together. We have too much tribalism in the black community. It's all tribalism now. Even in a conscious community, everyone only cares about their particular religious or philosophical point of view. What about the whole? We got to get that to collectively working together for the benefit of the community. And one of the things that parents can do is they can sign up to join the Chattanooga chapter of the National Independent Black Parent Association. I signed up a lot of parents there, and I've still been getting more texts and emails from other parents, and I'm even hoping that you and your show can kind of help be an organizing and galvanizing force for that parent association, because if we can get the parents of Chattanooga organized, we can bring all types of changes into those public schools until we have our own schools. If we want more black male teachers, we can get them. We want better education, we can get that too. But we got to come together and do it as a force.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right, Dr.
I love that. And if you want to text me that information, I'll be sure to share it. Go ahead and say the name of that organization one more time,
Yes,
Dr. Umar.
The Chattanooga chapter of the National Independent Black Parent Association. And they can actually visit my website, drumarjohnson.com, for more information on that. And I also want your parents to know every Tuesday morning I host a free Black Parent Teleconference, and I'm going to text you the flyer so you have it, and you can read that information off during your show, but it's free. If a parent ever has a question about what to do, education or mental health, they can call in every Tuesday, 6 to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will answer any question they have about their children.
That's what's up. That's
right.
what's up. I appreciate that. And I just want to know before we go to a break, Dr. Umar. So if because I'm all about trying to see what I can do. My kids are not in the school system right now, but I care about my community. I want it to improve. It hurts me when I see hurting and crushing mothers and just a messed up system, period, in our inner cities. What can I do to help, or what can we do as a community, as a group of leaders in this city to come together to be there for that broken family, for that mother that is not there, because she's crushing under the system. What can we do for those people? What can we do to come together for them?
I think one of the most powerful things that you ladies can do is start a non-denominational support circle for black women. Once a month, once a week, once every 2 weeks, however so you guys can make it happen. Black women should have a place they can come to for 2 to 3 hours in the evening after work and build with other sisters, get advice, get a hug, be able to cry and let it out on the shoulder of somebody who really cares. Our single mothers are crushing under the burden of depression, anxiety disorder, alcoholism. Some of them are still dealing with sexual abuse, all kind of issues black women have, and they still are expected to be this strong power in the community, and our sisters need each other. Black women need each other now.
Yes.
And I think that if you guys could do a sister circle that's not attached to a particular religion, don't make it about church, don't make it about Christianity, don't make it about Islam, just make it a sister circle where black women come together, non-denominational, to share their issues, their challenges, and their thoughts, because our women need that. The average black woman doesn't have a group of black women she can go to that's non-denominational, non-sorority, where they can just be black women and talk about their problems.
Hey.
Why do we have? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
One
Okay.
more question for you before Bird has a question for you too. But why do you think we have Chattanooga has been a city that's known to have like a crab in a barrel mentality? Like, you know, if one person is doing well, then, you know, they just kind of want to be set apart. How can we break? Because I feel like we could have that unity if we could set aside the envy, if we could set aside the hate. You know, like how can we overcome that? Because I feel like this city at times is just sickened by it.
Well, number one, we don't have a collective identity. In other words, I don't see you as part of me. I see you as separate. I see you as a competitor. I see you as somebody who I have to outperform. We no longer have a community consciousness. When we had a community consciousness, I wouldn't be jealous of you because your success is my success. My success is your success. We don't have communities no more. We don't even have neighborhoods. We have residential areas where all types of nonsense go on. So we have to foster that community consciousness so that way jealousy cannot thrive in an environment where everyone is seen as the same part of the same one person. We have to get back to that. And then number two, we got to recognize that one of the reasons black people engage in crab in a barrel psychology is because they're not interested in doing any work. One of the best ways to stop getting yourself involved in progressive action because you really don't want to do it is to attack the progressive acts. So what happens is the lazy people always attack the people who are working because they know if it works, sooner or later they're going to have to get involved if they claim to be true about the movement. But because they don't want to get involved,
because they're
lazy. Kill it before it grows because they want to sit on their lazy behind.
Hey, Doc, check this out. My Facebook and my Instagram jumping right now in the inbox, and to get it so people won't get it twisted, people will say this is somewhat reverse racism or that you hate white people. What you got to say about that?
Yes. Number one, we never even talked about white folks today. Okay, so that's number one.
Number one.
Okay.
I don't. It's against our culture. It is against African culture to hate another people because of who they are. We don't do that, and I don't believe we have to do that in order to solve our problems. I do not have to become a racist to get rid of white supremacy. I don't have to become a bigot in order to overturn white racism. So. That argument wouldn't stand. The other point about this being reverse racism, if they understood what racism was, there could be no such thing as reverse racism. It's a contradiction in terms because racism is a system of power that is implemented by an entire group of people to keep another group from effectively competing with them. So if it is a system of power, in order for there to be reverse racism, black people would have to be so organized. We would have to be so organized that we could challenge white people's control over American society. And I think we would all agree that we are not there yet. So there cannot be a reverse racism until you have a black community that is just as organized as the white community.
So I think they got your point. There we go.
All
That's
right,
what I'm
Doc.
talking about.
Tell them, Doc. Tell them, Umar.
Made it crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
All right. Hey, Dr. Umar, I thank you so much for tuning in. You know that I was just so intrigued by you. I was just, you know, it was just great to hear you speak. Everyone, young and old, at Herman's that morning, y'all, it was just great to just have a higher level of understanding, and everybody agreed. Like we were all on one page. Just like when you hear him speak today, you can see that this brother is passionate. He's here on this earth for a purpose. He's here to do great things to motivate us. And I'm just so glad that you were able to come through. Especially glad that you were able to bless us with some wisdom and knowledge today on the Tanisha Urban Show, Dr. Umar.
Thank you very much, Queen. Look forward to coming back, and we also need to go ahead and begin planning my return trip to Chattanooga.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
I
ma'am.
understand there was a lot of folk who wanted to be, but for whatever reason they were out of town. They didn't know about it, so we need to go ahead and start working on that as well.
Yes, we will, and we'll definitely stay in touch. I'll have on my Facebook page on the show, we will have information on how you can purchase Dr. Umar's book and also participate in his school. That's what's up, Dr. Umar. Thank you so much. You have a blessed day, and please keep in touch.
Hey guys, I thought that speaker was great, and y'all saying we need to stick together, but when everybody walk out the station every day, I listen to everybody. I've been on the talk show on everybody's talk show today.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Andre Willis. They call me the T-shirt guy.
Oh,
Hey, Andre.
I've been around in this business for over 30 years, and we don't have that support. Everybody, again, among each other, we're looking for the hookup. Everybody wants the hookup. Give me the deal. Until we work out that hookup deal, then we won't be able to prosper as an individual, because you feel that if you give me what I need to be, what I do, that means I'm going to have more than you. So until we get that mentality out on the hookup, and all our business will be successful. Until we get rid of the hookup system, then we'll make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
right.
Andre. I'm sorry, Doctor. I'm calling everybody Doctor. Thanks so much, Andre. And that's so true. And that's actually why we are pushing the New Chattanooga movement. And for those of you who don't know, the New Chattanooga is all about bringing together like-minded people to highlight the positive aspects of Chattanooga in the areas of family life, business, and entertainment. And you guys, that's what we're asking of us. It's time for a new day. This city is changing. This city is progressing. And we've got to be on some new stuff. And so that means a group of higher understanding people coming together and saying, you know what, I'm not going to be jealous of you. I'm going to compliment you, because when we all come together, everybody can eat.
And
if you represent that, you need to connect with us. Friend us on Facebook. Be a part of this new movement with the New Chattanooga.
Yes, and pay with your way. I appreciate what Doc said. Pay for black businesses just as well as you would go somewhere else and pay the prices that they got a hard business. They got to make money.